Have you ever felt that whisper in your soul calling you to something more, but all the things spinning around in your mind have kept you stuck? Well, what if I told you that choosing excellence could be both easier and more adventurous than you could ever imagine? I am Chelsea DeBruin-Colbert, your host of All Things Excellence. I'm a soul catalyst for excellence who leapt off that corporate cliff and left small town Iowa farm life in my 20s to follow my calling, helping women come home to themselves by anchoring into who they're designed to be. I create sacred containers where women rediscover their truth, design their dream life, and transform those whispers into action. Now you can find me running my business from the soccer sidelines as a coach's wife, hiking my favorite Arizona mountain, or back in Iowa with my family, or on an adventure chasing my next sunrise, hot cup of coffee and journal in hand. Through intimate conversations about the stories, the traumas, and the transformations behind choosing excellence, we're creating a collective healing journey together. I believe in diving deep into personality designs, experimenting boldly, and learning life's greatest lessons through our beautiful chaos. Every week, my guests and I are going to rip down the curtains so you can see behind the scenes of real transformation as we explore what excellence actually looks like. Not just the highlight reel, but that messy middle where the magic happens. Whether you're seeking inspiration to take that leap or already on your journey and craving connection, this is your invitation to join us. So grab your coffee, settle in, and get ready to discover just how close you are to the life your soul is calling you to create. This is All Things Excellence. Hey, All Things Excellence fam.
And welcome, dear Annie Joy fans.
Today we decided to do a really fun thing. This is my friend Annie. I am Chelsea, if you are listening to Annie's. And we were having a really good conversation recently, a couple weeks ago, and we decided from it that we should do an episode called She's Just Not That Into You.
Womp womp.
Do you want to tell them what we were?
Yes.
Well, we were talking about something, and you brought this up. You brought up.
I did. So we were having this like deep dive convo. Because I think it was when we were doing a different interview for your show, and then we got talking afterwards, and just got really deep diving into all the things as we do. We found out, you and I, and you were talking about a friend that you were like, "Hey, this friend is friends with these other women that I just don't want to be friends with. So therefore, our friendship's no longer aligned, and I'm out."
Yeah.
And I was just so moved by like how unattached you were, like not in a bad way, just like, oh, you know what, that's not aligning anymore. Like
Yeah.
it was such a loving release and just no shame around like who you were or who the other person was. You were not throwing shade on them. You were just like, no, that's just not alignment anymore. Mic drop out. And I was like, girl, take your ways.
And it was, and it was like a deep friendship. So I was 27 years old. It was my childhood best friend. We'd been friends, thick as thieves, tiny town, did everything together. I'm not saying it was easy, but it got to this point where I realized that because of another person that I don't say that she brought in, she did not bring in. I'm very clear when I say that, like, she did not bring this person in, but this person really inserted themselves in to her life, which we've seen this happen, right?
Sure.
And bless my friend's heart that she is such a good, sweet, kind, caring person that she isn't going to turn somebody away. Like she's just never going to be that person. And so I didn't like the lifestyle of this other person. I didn't like their lifestyle. I didn't like their negativity. I didn't like, they were just like, honestly, they're probably a normal of the world 27-year-old person. But at this point, I'd been in therapy for like 17 years and I was building a huge career and I was reading all the books and doing all the things. And I was like, dude, I am not going to allow this chick to like drag down my mojo and my frequency in my life. So like, this is just not going to happen. And like, sis, I love you, but I can't do this. And she was like, are you making me choose? And I'm like, I'm not making you choose. I am telling you I am choosing because I can't live a lesser life than I'm called to because you are choosing someone who does not match my frequency and my vibration. Because the hardest lesson of my life, I constantly have to go through this lesson. God will bring us through it again and again, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Every time. I constantly have to remind myself, I'm like, I always walk up to my husband and go, Chelsea, you do not bring them up. They only bring you down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard too to even like Because sometimes, and I think because you're like a super confident person, so you're like, yeah, it's not
Mhm.
bringing me down, I'm out, right? But
Mhm.
for anybody listening who may be a little bit more like
Mhm.
me, that's like stresses about like, does that mean I think I'm better than or whatever,
Yeah.
and like have like issues with that? Because you know,
Ooh, talk about that. Because I'm like, no, what is that? What up? Skin off a water? What is that? Whatever. Water
oh,
off a
I
duck's
know
back.
it's yeah, the thing like that, something. It's
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, that is the way you roll, and I love that about you. You're just like, I don't care. Like it doesn't even phase you,
Yeah.
which is why it's so fun to learn from you. But yeah, like for those of us who struggle with that, like
Mhm.
push and pull of, well, I don't want to feel like I'm better than, because it's not. And you're not saying you're better than,
No.
you're just saying you're in a different place.
Yeah.
But
Like
then there
I'm
are,
not bad and you're not bad and you're not great and I'm not it's not great. Like it's
it's
just like
not
this isn't
embodying
working.
that.
Like
No, it's
this
just
isn't
not working.
working.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that's where like sometimes it gets feels sticky to like let go of a
Yeah.
friendship because you're afraid of those beliefs around it, right? That
Mm.
even if you don't think you're better than, they're gonna assume that you think that or accuse you
Yeah.
of that, and that feels yucky, you know?
Mhm.
Um,
You know where I got that really good though was I just realized this as you're saying this. This applies in friendships, but it also applies in like romantic relationships. My college boyfriend that I dated for about 5 years, I remember it got to a point, and I remember my mom saying to me, Chelsea, it's okay. Like, it is okay that you and Brad are not going to be together anymore. It does not mean that he is bad. It does not mean that you are bad. He is good and you are good, but y'all together is just not working.
it's not
And we
working.
will always love you and we will always love him. But, like, because he just didn't really have, his mom was interesting and she's already passed away, and his dad wasn't ever around, and so my parents had really become his parents. So I did have this internal conflict of, well, then who will he have?
Right. And I
I had a
think
little
that
bit of,
oftentimes is a fear of like, well, then who's gonna
yeah,
take care of them?
yeah,
And we could probably dive into this more when we get to our other questions later, but like
yeah,
I really struggle with that of like, well, then who are they gonna have? And like learning
yeah,
to trust that God's got them.
yeah,
And that
yeah,
if it's not
and
gonna be
yeah,
me, there might be someone way better than me actually for them.
for them. It is that, right? Because they say whether it's a job or a friendship or whatever it is, a volunteer position, if you are in a position, whether it's volunteering, a career, a friendship, whatever, and you don't like it there, that's God making you uncomfortable because you're taking up space that's supposed to be somebody else's.
Yeah, which is amazing.
So
So
real.
let's dive into like
Mhm.
these tips we have for everybody
We have
about
5
how
tips.
we got tips for y'all. We got tips, we got tips, we got tips. Like we want to be able to help you figure out how to. I mean, because on my show I've talked a little bit about
Mhm,
like, how to like know what friendships aren't working and not settling for surface level and. But we
mhm,
want to talk today about like how you actually build them, and
mhm,
by doing some of the things we're
mhm,
talking about, you're going
mm,
to know if they're just not that into you or not. Because if
mhm.
you do these things, it will just line up. And if
Yeah.
it doesn't line up, it just ain't for you. I blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
start that part over. If it doesn't line up, then that
Yeah.
just means, darn it, not for you.
Yep.
Carry on,
Yep.
Totally.
Yep. She's just
So
not that into you.
she's just not that into you, baby. So the first one we want to talk about is like knowing what season you're in.
Mhm,
Because sometimes our friendships just need a little bit of a pivot. I actually have
mhm.
a dear friend that we haven't hung out much for a lot of years because of just like life circumstances. But
Yeah.
now some things are shifting in her life and she's kind of coming back around in my life more. And I've never stopped loving her. I've never stopped caring
Yeah.
about her. But
Yeah.
life circumstances kind of pivoted us back into maybe spending some more time together and me being there for her in a hard time. So I think it's important for us to be honest with ourselves and other people about what kind of connection we're capable of giving at that moment. Because different
Mhm.
seasons, you can do different things for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like when you honoring the season that you're in or they're in, I think one thing that can be difficult, I've had this before where I was in a season where I had a lot of time to give to a friend. And so we were really, really good friends. And no, I shouldn't say good friends. We had a deep, daily, intimate friendship. I've had this multiple times in my life, honestly. This is always on me because I'm in one of two spots. I'm either pedal to the floor, balls to the walls mode, or and I'm working 24/7. I say working 24/7. I really actually a lot more balanced than that. But it's like my focus. My focus is all in with my career. And I did this after college for quite a while. And then I'll go into these modes where I like really lift the pedal off completely and I'm just totally in neutral. And then I have a lot of time and space for
Yeah.
different friendships. And so based on, I've got some college friends that have experienced this. I've got some post-college friends that have experienced this where it isn't them. It's definitely me, depending on what season I am in, whether I'm in like a go mode season or I'm in like a healing reflecting season. And it's in my human design that I do this. It's the weirdest thing I do. But probably it stinks for them that, when the pedal's to the floor, I'm not that into anybody,
Yeah.
but the mission that I'm on.
Yeah.
And so it's knowing what season you're in.
I
But
think
I
it's
think,
a
and
big
then
deal. Yeah.
I think be able to talk to people about it. Like I can now
Right.
before I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have time for this. And now I can better articulate, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I miss you. I wish we had what we had, but I'm in such a grinding season right now. I'm in a building season, you know.
The point is you communicate about it. Like you didn't just ghost them.
Yeah.
You're like,
Well, the
hey, I'm
first
in a
I would
season right
say
now and
I
you
would say
know?
college I probably did. I said post college I probably did ghost them more.
Sure, sure.
But
But
I
like
don't even think I thought
now,
about it. Remember, because like I just live in my own world and I'm like,
you didn't know it even affected people. Yeah.
no, mm-mm. No, I look back at that because there are definitely some friends that I have from college where I've said to my husband periodically, like, I think they're mad at me. And I'm like, I was probably not, I probably missed something. I probably wasn't paying attention. I was in
Yeah.
a go mode season and I missed
Sure.
it.
I mean, but that's
Yeah.
true for everybody. There's things you
Mm-hmm.
don't know because you just don't know. And then
Uh-huh.
later you
Uh-huh.
become more
Uh-huh.
aware of them and you
Yeah.
start making those changes because you are more aware of them.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
then you can't do what you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Which
Yeah.
leads into good tip two. So tip two, stop forcing should be friendships. Just because there's history doesn't mean there's harmony.
Yeah.
And we want to give you permission today to release friendships that no longer reflect who you're becoming. Which I think is cool because it's it is not I think it's a two-way street on this that when
Sure.
we're all growing and changing. And it goes back to like it's not that I'm better than them or anything like that, but it's because it's not I'm going up and they're staying or going down, is I'm going to the left and they continued going to the right. And more often than not for
Yeah.
me in my life, people I hate when we say the word like outgrow people. I don't think we outgrow them.
Okay.
I hate that phrase because I feel like it can be hurtful to the other party.
Sure. Like you're implying that they haven't grown.
Yeah, right. It's just
Yeah.
that the terms that we enter the relationship on are no longer valid. I'm using this as a wild example. This is not true. This is like really not true. But it's like, okay, so let's say, well, you became my friends 10 years ago, and I was at church every single day and like leading the praise and worship team and hosting a Bible study in my home. And now I don't go to church and I don't even believe in God, and I've totally strayed away from that. And I'm, like, honestly like telling people's fortunes on the weekends or something like that. Like, and I would say to you, like, I'm just like really not that into that whole Jesus thing anymore that you do. Okay, well, here's the you if you can't have saved my soul before this, you should probably stop hanging out with me. And so I think that just because there's history there doesn't mean there's harmony. I think that
Yeah, that's
situations
valid.
change.
Right. And it
Mhm.
doesn't mean you don't care about them. It's just that
No.
there are only so many dang hours in the day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we can care about people and like have them like as like acquaintances and people we, care about when we
Hmm.
run into them, whatever. But
Hmm.
when we're talking about close friendships, it's
Yeah.
more about alignment than it is about outgrowing. So I think that's a very valid
Yeah.
point you made because that does
Yeah.
feel a little bit shamey to their person. I've
Yeah.
outgrown you because I'm so much more grown than you. Like,
Yeah. I know.
that
That's
doesn't
I
feel
don't love
good.
that phrase. And I think that things shift, right?
Hmm.
Like times in our life shift. I've said to my husband a lot because he works at the high school. We are collecting at a rapid rate really great friends, like the parents of these kids, who
Yeah.
it's kind of mind blowing that the parents are all around our age and they have these people that are turning into adults. I'm like, that's so weird. Like, we don't even have kids yet. So that's funny in itself. But, I'm like, oh man, I'm an Enneagram 8. So in stress, I go to a 5, which is kind of like the resource manager. And I, shore up all my energy. I'm already kind of freaking out a little bit about how the freak are we going to manage all of these friendships we're acquiring. Like, we got to pump the brakes. Because
Yeah.
then their kids are going to graduate, but I'm like, people being people, they're going to want to hold on to us because of the nostalgia. We remind them of like the good days with their kids, those best days when your kids are in high school, and you know,
Yeah.
um, and we're going to be like, ah, we have new kids.
Yeah,
But
we
I
have
mean,
new
I'm
kids.
also sad.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I think also like people are people, but I think also that life gets busy
Hmm.
and they may also move on
Yeah.
and shift for a different place too because
Yeah.
you're not in your everyday life anymore because their
Hmm.
kids are not with you anymore. And
Yeah.
so, and I think we just have to like honor and be okay with those shifts as they
Hmm.
come because they're
Agree.
natural and part of life. And when we hang on
Hmm.
to them, it's like we're making them mean something about us. Like, this
Mm.
person's not my friend anymore, therefore I am what? And maybe that's
Yeah.
what you gotta ask yourself is like, what am I making this mean about me that they don't wanna
Mm.
be my friend anymore? Am I making
Yeah.
it mean like I suck as a human? Am I making it mean that like no one wants to be my friend? Like,
Yeah.
what are you making it mean? Because I think that's what
Yeah.
the real pain is. Because if you're being honest with yourself, you might be fine with that friendship moving on,
Hmm.
but the real pain is like what you're making it mean about yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's that, like let's say like I stop going to Pilates that I'm going to, and so I'm not seeing those same Pilates friends anymore. Organically,
Right? It's
you
just
know,
not the same.
it's
Yeah.
just not the same, and it's not gonna be the same. And so I, as I always like really, I when things are really really good, I tend to spend a lot of time marinating on them and soaking them up because I know that the time is so limited when it's gonna be this good with these people. I was thinking my husband's old boss, like when we knew that he was gonna be going to a different school, I think I like literally inhaled every single moment that I could last spring, knowing that it was this tiny moment in time that was going to be this cool and this fun and this great having him as my husband's boss because he was just kind of like a work dad to my
Yeah.
husband and I got to be around. And so, and then I think I release that when that season's over, then I release that really well. But I think some
Sure.
people do struggle with that because then they feel the internal rejection, like you were saying.
Right. But I think that's a
Yeah.
beautiful perspective. Like, I'm just going to
Mhm.
soak this up in this season because I know it's
Mhm.
not going to last. Well, think about
Yeah.
like if you, for those of you who are parents, like, you know that like toddlers this season, teenagers this season, like, you know that those
Mhm.
things are, you got to just accept that everything has a season, even friendships and even,
Mhm.
people that come and go in our lives that if you're not seeing them
Absolutely.
all the time, it is different. So that's a
Absolutely.
really good perspective.
Yeah.
And this next one I think is great too about leading with vulnerability, not performance.
Uh-huh.
I have been I have been complimented. It's fine, guys. I can talk. It's cool. I have been complimented on my ability to be vulnerable. And it's
Mm.
not something that I feel like
Mhm.
it might be a natural ability, but I don't think I
I
really
think
led with
so.
that
Like
until
as an
later in my
Enneagram
life.
4. As an
Yeah, I
Enneagram
mean,
4.
I am a four. That's
Yeah.
true. But I
Yeah.
think I hid that for a long time. 'Cause I
Oh.
got shamed for being emotional, and
Mhm.
so I did not want to do that, so as I, got healthier as a grown up,
Mhm.
I've done that a lot more, and even
Yeah.
in my early 20s, I was being much more vulnerable and people would connect with that so easily,
Yeah.
but the truth is that authentic friendship starts when we stop trying to be impressive and
Mm.
start being honest, because depth does not come from curation, comes from being friggin' real, my friends.
Yeah. I'm an
That's it.
Enneagram 8, so unfortunately for everyone on the planet, that's probably where I'm the best. My friends always be like, "Okay, all right, well, we
Well,
know."
she's
I
here.
know. I was a little too honest for my own good a couple weeks ago at the school. And then the next week, something happened and I recorded it. And so then everybody and their dog got the video. And I was like, oh, geez. Like my super honest commentary was on that video. Like, this is not good. I mean, like, I'm super, super honest the way it is. But this was like the, like, under my breath, unhinged version of me. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is
Oh,
probably not
yikes.
going to
When
be a good
everybody
show.
has the things they say,
Yeah.
we know
So I
what to think.
got a little trouble for it, but it's okay.
Yeah.
But then I was joking last week and I was like, I said something, I was like, I'm just being honest, I'm just being honest. And one of the guys that works with my husband goes, oh, we know you are always honest.
Yeah.
We have never questioned whether you are honest.
Right, right. But I think the cool thing about you is that you're honest, but you're not like attached to the other person accepting your truth.
Oh, no. No, and that's, like, in life, like, I genuinely I don't know how I feel like I'll say this, and then I think you can say how other people feel.
Mm.
When I say, "This is what I believe, and this is how I live my life," and I literally don't care at all what you do or how you live your life. Like, I'm not here to convince you that you need to think, do, be like me. Like, I don't care, and I don't think people I think when I say I don't care, people think, "Oh, yeah, you do." I'm like, "No, I literally don't care."
Right. That is genuinely like how you show up. But I don't know if that's true for some people
Yeah.
where like they
Yeah.
share their truth as in like this is absolute capital T truth and
The
they don't
truth.
recognize it like that's their opinion.
This is my truth. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't have the
I
awareness of it.
mm,
I don't think they mean to, but I think there's just
mm,
not awareness there of like this is
agree.
what I think and this is what I feel.
Agree.
And there is an attachment to like if you
Mhm,
don't
mhm.
take my advice, then you don't care about me or whatever they're
Yeah.
making it mean. Right.
Well, and do you
So
think there's some self-judgment in that some self-judgment where it's like, so I don't need other people to believe my truth to feel confident in who I
sure.
am, but
Yeah.
do other people maybe it's like, "Oh my gosh, so wait, am I wrong? Like this was my truth, but like they're not agreeing with me and
Yeah.
they think differently. So am I wrong? Am I dumb? Am I this? Like, do you think that that's
Right.
okay?
Yeah, and I think it's a thing where it's like, I'm wrong, therefore, like, I am wrong. Like, my opinion is wrong, therefore, I'm wrong.
I'm wrong.
You know what I'm
And then
saying?
is it like that worthiness thing? It's you
I
being in
think
the
so.
emotional triad with like the emotion, you live with the emotional thing of shame. I live with justice, but you live with shame. Do you
Oh, girl.
feel like that?
It's my next door neighbor, you know?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I kick it out often, then I try to come back in the back door, you know?
Yeah, it is the gremlin that is in the basement. We don't
The
really have basements here, but
gremlin. Yes.
it's the
Mhm.
gremlin in the basements creeping up the stairs. Do you feel
Uh-huh.
that though for people where it could be a little bit of that? Like they experience the shame,
Yeah, where it's like,
like the
oh, then
I
maybe there's yeah, I'm wrong, and they're not, but they're not aware enough to know that.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
And or maybe
yeah,
they are and they just don't know, right?
yeah,
So that
agreed.
might be something to think about. Is like if there's
Yeah.
something that you are sharing with someone and you're being honest, and you're trying to be vulnerable, right? You're
Mm,
trying to share your truth, your opinion, whatever, and it's received
yeah.
poorly. Take a look at like, well, is it because she's just not
Mhm.
that into you and you're just not in alignment, or is it because maybe you're trying to assert your truth as someone else's universal truth?
Because also nobody wants to be friends with that person. If you are trying to make
Right.
your opinions and your truth mine, I am
Mhm.
absolutely not that into you.
Sure, because no, like you said, nobody's into that. And I
Nope.
get though that
Nope.
anyone doing that is probably not doing it like on purpose.
Yeah.
They're just that's like it's probably like a self-preservation
Yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
So,
I get
you
where they're
know,
coming from, but I'm not going to
yeah.
hang around for it.
But
It,
listen,
it
it's not a good time. Yeah.
yeah, and that's where another one of the things around this is, okay, so tip 4, match energy, not expectations. Notice who's initiating, checking in and showing up. Authentic adult friendships are reciprocal, not one-sided loyalty tests. But it's also in that same thing, match energy, not expectations. I when someone when someone is trying to force their beliefs because their truth is the truth. They believe like their
Mhm.
truth, their rule is the rule and that I need to get on board, whether they are right or not is going to make me I'm going to innately push them away because as an Enneagram 8, my greatest fear is to be controlled. I don't need to be in control, but I cannot be controlled. And so
Sure.
I am going to be repelled by that sort of like judgmental, controlling energy just for
Mhm.
fun. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard of Gretchen Rubin has these 4 tendencies and it's like
Yes.
upholder, you know what I'm talking about? Right, right, right.
Yeah.
And there's the questioner with rebel tendencies, and I am the questioner with rebel tendencies. So it's kind of like I'm going to question like, okay, but why do you think that's the rule? And why
Mhm.
do you feel that we have to be like that? And then I'm going to rebel against it.
I'm not
Maybe
shocked, by the way. That's what you are.
that's mine. I know, right? And I'm probably
Not
going to
shocked.
rebel like I'm not even rebelling because I don't agree. I'm just rebelling because I'm like, you don't get to tell me how to live my life.
Yeah, no. You don't,
Yeah.
no, and it makes sense,
Yeah.
like, though, for you, like, because of your Enneagram type and all these other
Mhm.
things as well, like, that's
Yeah.
really not gonna resonate for you,
Yeah.
but also our expectations can change, and
Mhm.
I mean, you've probably heard this where they say expectations was premeditated disappointments,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And I actually had a
Oh my
conversation.
gosh.
Oh,
I would
girl,
say to
what?
my mom, don't get mad when people live up to your expectations.
Mm.
You can't be, I always say you cannot be mad when people live up to your expectations. Like someone will do something ridiculous. And I will say, but mom, they always do that. And she goes, I know, but seriously, can you believe? And I'm like, well,
But they
they
always do it, so.
they literally lived up to do what I expect them to do. The only person who gets to be mad, the only person I get to be mad at in the situation is myself.
For
If I thought they were
expecting
going to
that.
be different, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Right. No, for sure. And that lent to that well. We also, there was a
Mhm.
group of life coaches that I was in a Marco Polo group with,
Mhm.
and we started talking about this statement of like the premeditated disappointments and meditated.
Mm.
I can talk.
Mhm. Pre
Premeditated disappointments.
premeditated disappointment.
Premeditated. And we talked about though, like the difference though is agreements. Now, if you have an agreement with someone, that's different. Like if you and I say,
Mm.
okay, we're going to agree that we're busy humans, we're adults who can only hang out so often, whatever. And my
Yeah.
agreement is like, hey, like at least once or twice a month, I would love to just check in with you, see how you're doing, catch up with you, whatever. And you're not doing that. And I'm like, hey, just checking in. We have this agreement.
Yeah.
You know, like that's a different story. We're with a partner,
Mm.
maybe. Maybe you and Kobe, right?
Yeah.
You and Kobe have an agreement around whatever it is you have an agreement around. He's
Yeah.
not fulfilling his end of the deal. You're like,
Yeah.
bro, love you, and you said you're going to do this, and let's talk about
And
it.
you didn't.
That's
You
different than
know what though?
expectations.
I really, really love that. Like if you have friendships with people that you really care about, maybe because we live in such a wildly crazy busy world, maybe this is
Mhm.
something that we need to do more of is the people that are like our I'm not talking our friends and our acquaintances. I'm talking our inner circle.
Like
Have a
whole
one-on-one
sisterhood.
meeting
Yeah.
with our inner circle friends and say, this is what I would like and this is what I expect. And they go, well, this is what I would like and this is what I expect. And you got to find this space in the middle
Yeah. Yeah.
that works for both parties.
Right. And like you got to communicate. That's the thing, though, is I think that as women, and me
Mhm.
included, I've had to work really hard on this, and I'm still learning,
Mhm.
is we're not
Mhm.
taught to communicate directly.
Mm.
Like we were taught to
Correct.
be passive or
Correct.
passive aggressive or,
Bless
oh,
her
it's
heart.
yeah, we are not taught to do that. So I
Uh-huh.
think that's why I am so passionate about learning these skills and teaching them
Uh-huh.
because
Uh-huh.
it does make a big difference when you can say, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling," and directly talk about that. And like you say, come to middle ground of, "Hey, this is what I can give, this is what you can give," which I mean
Yeah.
kind of ties back into the knowing what season you're in. You know, what am
Mhm.
I capable of giving right now? Hey, I could
Mhm.
hang out
Mhm.
whatever, you fill in the blank. But
Yeah.
instead of just kind of guessing and
Yeah.
hoping that it matches,
Yeah.
maybe talk about it.
Well, someone's always going to be disappointed. I think that's really great.
Sure.
Almost establishing some friendship expectations. I actually really love that. I mean, I'm taking that away from myself, guys.
Get it. Right.
I'm
It's
taking it
it's
away from
time.
myself. Yeah.
I like it.
All
That's
right.
good. Well, which I think is perfect for tip 5 of don't
Mm-hmm.
confuse chemistry with compatibility. Because
Yes.
listen, and actually, I want to talk
Just
more
because
about this.
it's fun doesn't mean it's aligned.
Well, and I think that's very true for
Yeah.
me because I'm
Uh-huh.
just a very fun human and I have a fun personality. And so
Yeah. Do
people
a lot
are
of people want to be
drawn,
around you? Like a lot of people want to be your friend because you
sure, because
are
I'm
like
fun.
outgoing and charismatic, and they're like, I want to be outgoing and charismatic. Like I want to be more like her.
Yes.
And
And
so,
I struggle talking about this only
yeah.
because of my like journey of understanding like how to be confident in myself and not be prideful and all the things, right? I have a hard time saying this out
Mhm.
loud, but I do have a
Mhm.
lot of
Mhm.
people who are drawn to me and that want to be my friend and want to hang out with
Yeah.
me, but I don't
Yeah.
think they realize that it's not really me per se. Like they'll watch me dance like a
Mm.
crazy person. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I want to hang out with you. You're so fun. I want to be like you." And I'm like, "You just want to be as free as I feel when I'm dancing.
Yeah.
You may
I
not
love
even
that.
like me
People
if
don't
you've
say that
talked to
to
me."
me.
Oh, well, sometimes I'm like, I jokingly say, like, "Well, get in line." Like, just because I'm like, there are so many people that are like, "Oh my gosh, can I be
Yeah.
your friend?" And listen,
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of talents. There's only so many that I have, but one of them is that I just am very easy to be around. And
Yeah.
so they're like,
Agreed.
"Oh, girl, let's be best friends." I'm like, pump the brakes. I don't got room for any more besties. But
Yeah.
but I also love everyone and I like see the good in everybody and I
Yeah.
like want to bring people under my wing, but I've had to learn how to like not do that all the time.
Do you feel like part of that is your Enneagram 4? Because if the fear of an Enneagram 4 is being emotionally cut off or abandoned. and being alone, right? And so not being seen, sought out, being not being included, not being seen as unique and special. And so there's like this double-edged sword of you that it's like, well, I don't want them to feel like I abandoned them, but I also love that they saw me and that they see me as unique and special and they want to be around me. So even though you know cognitively that this isn't someone that you should create this deep friendship with or whatever, there's this piece of your body that wants to say yes to their invitation.
Well, and I think because I have felt that like rejection of like not having any friends.
Yes.
I'm like, I don't want anyone to feel that way. I don't want them to feel like,
Yeah.
oh no, like this girl rejected me and now I'm alone forever. And it's like, but Annie
Hmm.
Joy, they're gonna find other people. Like you're not the only
Yeah.
friend for them to have. You know, I just
But it
the
is
little
hard.
tiny Annie is like, no, we don't
Uh-huh.
want anyone to feel alone and left out.
Yeah. I mean, I was bullied really, really bad for 7 years in a tiny little private school, so that was not fun because there was
Yeah.
nobody else to be friends with.
Mm-hmm.
And I had somebody in my adulthood say to me, I was like, oh my gosh, like, why am I friends with this person? Like, I know she's not even a good person. Why do I stay friends with her? She's like abusive to me. And they were like, because you know what it's like to not have a friend, so you would
Yeah.
never want to abandon somebody as a friend.
Totally. And it's like
Yeah.
that be aware of that, but then also recognize that that doesn't mean you can be deep friends with everybody. And so
Hmm.
I actually have been pruning a lot in the past couple of years of like,
Hmm.
okay, I can love
Yeah.
and care about all these people that want to be friends with me. And if I see them at like a bigger gathering, because I am part of a singles scene of humans, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm this season I'm in is being
Yeah.
single. So
She's single,
therefore, just
y'all. You have a brother?
anybody got a brother? You got a cousin? You got anybody cool? Hit me up. Listen, I'm
Yeah.
done with the apps. Can't do it.
Yeah.
I fired all the apps. But
Yeah.
because I'm in this season, I'm going to go to things like there's lots of people there. So I'm
Hmm.
always going to be like friendly and kind. You know, like I want to have like
Absolutely.
friendly relations.
Hmm.
Does that mean we're like close friends though? I wish in English we
Yeah.
had like a better word for like close friend. You know, because like we use the word friend so loosely.
Yeah. So my friend Anna Marie and I we did an episode on the week before Valentine's Day. We called it Galentine's episode, where we talked about the different depths of friendship, where you have your inner circle, and then you
Totally.
have people who are your friends, and then you have acquaintances because
Yeah.
they're situational friends, but they're really just
Sure.
acquaintances.
Yeah.
And I
And
would
you're
say,
friendly with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
like there's so many women that I go to Pilates with and I've gone to Pilates with every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for years on years. And I have to be honest with myself, like several of them are my friends.
Hmm.
But like a lot of them are my situational acquaintance friends.
Yeah. And that's
Even
okay.
though I see them every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for an hour, I see them more than I see them more in a year than I see my parents, but the reality is. So,
Truly.
okay,
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say what the questions. So we've got some questions we're gonna go through. I want to know this one from you.
okay. Hit
What
me.
makes you feel emotionally safe in a friendship?
Ooh, that's a
Ooh,
goodie.
all
What makes
right.
me feel emotionally safe in a friendship?
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe this is from my childhood wounding,
Mm,
but having someone just be able to hold space for the roller coaster of emotions that I have on any
mm,
given situation. That I
yeah.
might feel three things about that situation. I might fluctuate from feeling really angry right now and might yell about it for a minute and then
Yeah.
5 minutes later, I'm back to chilling. Like,
Yeah.
just someone who's willing to accept that I have a lot of feelings. I'm all water signs. I mean, my Enneagram, my human design, all of it is like big heart, big emotions, and
Yeah.
I wear them outside my body. And so I have a couple like really, really close friends that we're in this Marco Polo group because we don't live by each other. So
Yeah.
when we get to be together, it's magical. But
Yeah.
for the most part, we rely on technology. In fact, I was just talking to them this morning and sharing some things that were hard for me. And both of them are like, they're so supportive with great insight.
Hmm.
And they're not just going to leave me hanging of like, sorry, that sucked for you. You know,
Yeah.
they're going to share like, hey, what I see in you is this. And so
Yeah.
maybe that's another part is like being emotionally safe as far as like letting me
Mm,
have the range of emotions, but
absolutely.
also recognizing the good in me and helping me remember what's good in me.
Yeah.
Because I have a tendency to forget.
Do you feel like as a four, so I feel like as an eight, I feel like as an eight, don't really, it's, I don't really have many people in my entire lifetime that I could say I feel emotionally safe with to
Mm.
really get to be the whole frequency of who I am as an Enneagram 8 because they couldn't handle it for sure. I'm not even saying they probably couldn't handle it. Like they definitely couldn't handle it. For sure, no. But so as a 4, like how I am, like with gut and the angry emotions. Like Kobe literally says, he's like, you don't get sad, you get mad sad, and it's like this seething sadness that
Yeah.
you get. I'm like, this is so true. But like, so do you feel that as a 4, it's like somebody that can really handle that intensity? Because the way that a 4 feels emotions is so big and intense.
Real big and intense. I mean, thus far, these friends have, bless their
Yeah.
hearts, have
Yeah.
handled it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like
Mm-hmm.
you just keep putting drops in the bucket, right? And finding if they can handle it or not. And but after the past
Hmm.
couple of years of like me being like, hey, like there was one time one of these
Wait,
girls,
you slowly put drops in the bucket?
I've slowly put drops in the
Yeah.
bucket.
Just, 8s, literally, they're like, I'm actually going to explode your bucket right off the bat, and you can either handle it or not. I'm just going to know right away.
Yeah, and I
What,
don't know
what
if
does
that's
that
just
mean?
like an Annie thing or a four thing, because like it
No,
might
it's
be
an
just
8
my
thing. It's
trust
an 8 thing
issues
to go, like, I'm blowing up the bucket. You
going
got it,
in,
or you
going
in or you
hot.
out. Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, one of these gals, a couple years ago, I'd like sent her a Marco, and I was like snot running, like sobbing, like
Mm,
I can't do this anymore.
yeah.
Took me to a mental facility, like I'm out, like I'm so done. And I almost deleted it, and then I didn't. And
Yeah.
she was like, "I love you," and
Mm,
just didn't phase her, you know. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I think that's what I knew for sure with her. That I was like, yep, this is it. And the other gal, I talked to her about like I had some stuff come up, and I was like, oh my gosh, and I called her to like do real time talking, you know, and I just like dumped it. And she was like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, like totally held space for it, acknowledged my
Hmm.
hurt, acknowledged my goodness, acknowledged like everything, but
Hmm.
also had like
Hmm.
good things to share it. Because my friends are not the ones that are like, oh yeah, they're the worst and you did everything right.
Yeah.
Because that's not
Oh,
helpful to me
yeah.
either.
That's not helpful either. No.
No, I mean, and some people seem to
No.
like that because they don't, maybe because they don't know anything different.
Well, I think that most people need somebody to be on their side. Most people, like as somebody obviously, I work with the Enneagram. Most people, a lot of people, they really don't like the Enneagram because it tells you what makes you incredible, but it also points out what makes you not so incredible. And
Sure.
they don't like that. Most people can't handle that. They're just not there on that healing journey yet
Mm.
to be able to take that in.
Yeah, I mean, that's good
Yeah.
observation because I don't know if I know that. So, like, that's actually good to know.
Hmm.
Like, that's not like a common thing. But maybe because
Uh-uh.
I've been such a self-critical person my whole life, and I've had to
Yeah.
flip it on its head and like be able to
Hmm.
see the things that maybe I could do better, but from like a healthier
Hmm.
perspective and not a
Hmm.
beat myself up perspective. But
Hmm.
I don't find it helpful to have someone jump on this bandwagon of like hating
Yeah.
someone, and
Yeah.
so I won't do
That's
that
a
for other people either.
that's a growth path thing.
Right, which actually I
Absolutely.
lost a friend over that. I would not jump on her hate wagon,
Mm.
and she's
Yeah.
like, "Just tell me that I'm right." And I was like, "Can't do that."
Like I just don't think that you are. I mean, I
I said, "I understand, like,
yeah.
why you're hurt. I totally
Yeah.
understand why you're hurt. I get what you're coming from, but if you're saying I agree with your opinion,
Yeah.
I don't."
But
But
that's like
that's not the
so
same thing.
yeah, like one of the questions is, what's a friendship that you've outgrown and how did you know? I think that's a really, really great example because
Right.
I've been there where I've had that person who it's like their rule is the rule and they needed me to have their back no matter what.
Mm.
And I mean, there comes a point where, I mean, I'm ruthless as an 8. I've got my friends' backs no matter what. Until I'm like, you're actually emotionally damaging some. I have your back until you are damaging someone else. And then I've actually never been more against you.
I could see that.
I mean that because
You're
innate,
hardcore.
like we do protect our people, but at the end of the day, we protect the people. And if your hill of rightness that you're dying on is hurting and damaging other people, this isn't going to work. And I've had friendships with that, and I actually asked our friend Stacy once. I was like, "Why do I blow up these friendships? Like, look at these friendships. Why do I tend to blow up friendships?" And she said, "Well, as a projector, you tend to see what others don't see before they ever see it, and maybe see it when they really don't want to see it, and then you speak to it, and then they don't create any change, and then you keep saying it, and they're mad that you're saying it, and you're frustrated that they're not changing, and then
Yeah.
you start dropping bombs all around them to try and get them to do it because they're hurting themselves and other people, and then the friendship explodes, and I'm like, oh, that is my pattern.
Yeah,
You're
oh
so
my gosh,
right.
it actually makes sense.
Yeah,
Yes.
it makes so much sense, but I had to
Yeah.
learn. When her and I had that conversation almost 3 years ago this summer, it has been so helpful because I definitely have friendships now where I would have already, like I would have already dropped so many bombs on them and blown them up. But it's helped me realize that instead of like blowing the friendship up completely and walking away, I've learned how to just shift them from one circle to the next to move them out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's like I'm outgrowing it, but like I don't need to unfriend them and block them or anything overnight. I just need to like move them to a different circle. I think the one thing is like, how do you do, are we supposed to have conversations with people about that? Or can we just like kind of just
Oh my
fade
gosh,
away?
that's actually a really great question
Mm,
because, like, with the example
seriously
I
though.
gave, where
Yeah.
this girl's like, Tell me I'm right," and I was like, I don't agree with your
Uh-huh.
what you're saying, but like, I understand the feeling behind it, but
Yeah.
agreement and validation are not the same thing." And she just, anyway, and she just kind of like dropped out,
Yeah.
and I mean, like if we saw each other in public, we'd say hi, and you know what I mean. But like, we stopped hanging out
Yeah.
after that, and so it's like it has to be a direct result of me not. She wasn't that into me in the way I do things. Got
Yeah.
it. Message
That's
loud and
okay.
clear. But
Yeah.
I think it depends because I've struggled with this too. Of like, when do you have to have a conversation?
Yeah.
Like a DTR? Do you know what that? I mean, that's a Mormony term,
Hmm.
or is that everyone
DTR.
knows that? Define the relationship. It's probably a Mormony thing,
Oh.
like a
Oh,
Utah
okay.
Mormony thing.
Okay. Maybe
Like,
yes.
but in your friendships, how often do you have to like say, like, hey, I don't think we're lining up anymore. We're not gonna be friends anymore. Or
Yeah.
sometimes can we just
Get the hint.
get the hand? And
And what's
I've
the
struggled
point?
with that.
She's
I'm
just not
like,
that into
well,
you. Okay. You know,
she's
it
just
like,
not into you. Yeah.
yeah.
If
Can you
we're
just get the
comparing
point?
it to like dating, right? Like if a guy just
Yeah.
starts like dropping out,
Yeah.
it's annoying if we're like, excuse me, why are you not texting me anymore? You know?
Yeah.
Like that, you probably, I mean, in a healthy perspective, you're probably not going to go try to
No.
like hunt down the reason why they're not texting you anymore.
Mhm.
So do
Agree.
we have to force that out of people or can we accept it? But it might depend on how close to friends you are, it might depend on their communication style. I don't know. What are your
So
thoughts?
I have a friendship that when I lived back in Dallas, mid text dissolved, and it wasn't even like we were literally texting probably about the weather or something stupid like that. And then she just never texted me back ever again, which is kind of wild because we lived next door to each other and we were with each other every single day. And I'm okay that the friendship I've always said like I'm okay that the friendship ended. She is terrible, terrible character. Every day of my life, my husband was like, I hate that you keep being friends with her. I'm like, everybody deserves to be a good friend. She was just raised with a really toxic, really bad family with really, like bad character habits. Somebody just needs to teach her how to be a good person. That's what my mom kept telling me. Shouldn't have taken, sorry, mom, shouldn't have taken that advice. Even my mom agrees, like, you
Love you,
shouldn't have taken
mom.
my advice. Yep, shouldn't have taken, and I mean, everybody everywhere is like, seriously, stop being around this person. Like, you're going to be
Yeah.
guilty by association. Get away from her.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of bad stuff that was being brought into my life. Like, a lot of rejection was being, a lot, I was experiencing a lot of rejection because I was staying friends with this person who I just was like, no, like, she deserves a good friend, right? And then
Yeah.
she, like, actually ghosted me completely at life mid text message. I'm not even kidding. And then made a giant Facebook post about this person, this elusive person that she was kicking out of her life. And I think in that situation, I think in that very specific situation, I deserved at least a conversation.
Well, especially because
Or
she's like,
even just a text message of, this just isn't working out. Like, I don't want to be friends with you. Not just this, like, what the heck just happened?
yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
especially because she like blew it up on social media.
Just blew it up on social media,
Like
and there was
maybe if she
never
kind of
anything. I'm
just
like,
like melted into the background, then like maybe,
no,
yeah,
there was no fight. There was no nothing. Like 3 days before, I was at her house and designed like this huge, like 10-hour graphic design project for her, helping her out with something. And then, yeah, I know it. And so I'm like, I think it depends on the level of friend. I think it depends on what are you doing. Like, are you inner circle friends and you've decided that you want this person completely removed out of your life?
Hmm.
that deserves a conversation. Are you inner
Sure.
circle friends and you want to move to just friends? I don't know. I think that can be like life fading. Things are kind of weird like that, right? Like career shifts
Yeah.
sometimes cause that to happen one way or the other. Um, you know what I mean? I think it kind of depends on
Right.
what you're doing.
Well, sure. And there's some friendships that maybe like it's just there's a conversation needs to happen to like work through some issues so you can stay being friends. But there
Yeah.
was a friendship that it's been quite a few years since I like
Yeah.
cut it off, and I
Yeah.
struggled so much. I went to coaching about it. I was like, "Look, I'm not being a good Christian. If I'm telling this
Yeah.
person I can't hang out with them anymore, and I've
Yeah.
known her forever, and blah blah blah." It's like, but the pattern was so toxic. I was
Hmm.
like, I cannot. Like, my soul is being depleted
Yeah.
because of this friendship and the things she's accusing me of. And I was like, okay, but I kind of had to assess like where is she at in her emotional health and not to again not to judge it but just out of like alignment, like
Yeah.
can she and I have like a real conversation? If the
Yeah.
answer is no, then I'm just putting myself in a position to get hurt more.
Okay, so that's another okay. Yes, because that is
Okay.
a different
Okay.
conversation where yes, where I've said to like I if it was possible, the only reason I want to move this person outside of my friendship circle is because they are so emotionally unstable and toxic, but yet you can't have a conversation with them because they are so emotionally unstable and toxic. You're like, I don't even want you to be an acquaintance.
Yeah, like I'm out. Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah, this person had been blocked on my social media for
yeah,
we're probably going on 8 years now, like
yeah,
so.
yeah. There
And
you
that's
go.
just how it had to be for me, and
There you
thankfully, I
go.
haven't run into her or anything, like, which has been
Hmm.
great. I wish her well, I hope she's happy.
Yeah,
It just was like, we were obviously this is not alignment for her
yeah,
either, and I'm like
yeah.
and I think that's the awareness I had to come to was like, I am not the best friend in the world for everybody.
Oh, I am definitely not the best friend in the world for most people. The friends that I have, the best you could ever have, but most people, I'm definitely not. I'm definitely a lot. Okay, so what is a green flag you look for in new connections? Let's
Which
talk
is
about green
perfect what we're
flags. What do
talking
you look
about.
for? What do you look
What
for?
do I
I'm trying to
look
think what
for?
I mean,
Um,
well, obviously, like we look for people that can handle all of our insanity.
sure. I think
Hmm.
also the, not expecting me to be on all the time.
Mm.
'Cause I've had
Yeah.
friendships like and I don't think they intentionally mean to,
What does
but
that
I've
mean
had
for?
people who, like, cause I am the life
Yeah.
of the party, and I'm the DJ, and I'm the crazy girl, they're
Oh.
like, "Annie, we want you to come dancing," and, like, I've gotten, like,
Oh.
straight guilt trips from people
Yeah.
who are like, "You're not at this singles party, and it's not the same without you," and, like, "Why aren't you here?" And I get their intention is to be like, "Oh, man, we miss you, we wish you were here 'cause we like you."
That's why I was like, is it? But is that you or them?
Oh, it's not me. I was saying like that's a flag of like if you like a green flag is like, hey, I would would love to have you there because I love you so much, but if you can't, I completely understand. Like
Yeah.
acknowledging my
Yeah.
need to have quiet time and not be at every party
Oh,
and
you
that's
feel
fine
like
with me.
they're like really coming for you that you're not there.
Yeah, I have felt that several times in my like this season of being
Mm-hmm.
single, where there's like, oh my gosh, if I say I'm going home at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night and not staying out till 2 a.m. There's been people who are like, "Oh my gosh, you're going home." I'm like, "Well, you have to get up early." They're like, "So do I." Like,
Okay,
you
well,
choosing to
just
not
saying
sleep is
this
not my problem.
right now, a green flag for me is that by like 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, you're ready to be done texting because by like 6:37, I'm over the day. So I'm gonna I'm gonna plug my phone in my office and start winding down, and I'm gonna go to bed at 8-ish, 8:30.
Good, that is good,
Yeah, so that's a green flag for me that they have an early bedtime.
right? Yeah, or at least can
Yeah.
acknowledge your early bedtime,
I think
you know?
another green flag too for me is uh, that they are. Steph said this recently. Like I like to talk about all the things. Like I want to be able to talk about all the things. Steph was like, "Oh my gosh, you just literally talked about you were like Enneagram, human design, soccer game, niece and nephews, Alaska, aliens." Like she was like, "What just happened to you?"
Alaska
And then she was
neighbor.
like, "Harry Potter,
Yeah,
Marvel comics." She was like,
yeah,
"You
yeah,
just hit all of these things in one." And I like a green flag for me is that I can talk about any of the weird, wild things of the world. Not like I'm saying I believe in all of them, just saying like, oh, I can talk about them and we can
yeah.
have a conversation about them. And that person's great with it. Oh, you know what else? is that I can be a green flag is also that it doesn't always have to um, like be happy and positive.
Right.
Like I hate when Enneagram sevens are really hard for me because although one of my very best friends is an Enneagram seven because they're the master reframers. And
Yeah.
so that's hard.
I was
So
just on
when
a trip with
somebody,
the 7 and I noticed that. Now that I'm learning more, I'm learning so much
hmm
from you. But in
yeah,
fact, I busted out your workbook with the different
yeah,
Enneagrams, and we were going through
I
everybody in the
love it.
car's Enneagram, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I can see that in him as a 7,
hmm
like
hmm
wanting it to be reframed to something positive, which is
Yep.
a great quality. But I hear you. Like, there's gonna be times like I'm just in my
Well,
right now, and I'm just gonna be in it.
but it is a great quality until their need to avoid pain gets in the way of your need to grieve and be sad or mad or whatever.
Right. Which could that might be a whole other episode on
Yeah.
like competing needs,
Yeah.
and how to
Well,
navigate that. But
that's not even that's not a good need. My need is to come against, right? To
yeah,
hate everything before I can like it. It's their basic need. It doesn't mean that it's good. Like a one's basic need is to be perfect. Well, not everything can be perfect. A
right.
two's
You have
basic
to
need
let
is to
that
be
go.
needed. Okay, well, you need to a three's basic need is to be successful, like, for the world to see them as successful. So their need to avoid pain, it more shows what causes them to do what they do in life and why they function in that way. It doesn't mean that it's always good.
Sure. Yeah.
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 Uh-huh.
Very valid. I like that.
Uh-huh.
Kind of with
Uh-huh.
those green flags. And I shared these
Man.
2 tips that
Uh-huh.
my bot came up for me. And I actually
You're
really like
very
them.
highly
My
customized.
customized bot that Chelsea made for me, like
It's
a boss.
it's
Like,
not like she was having a random conversation. Like this thing knows all
it
the
knows
things
all
about
my
her.
things.
It knows
Yes. In
everything about
fact,
you.
listen, mini
Yes.
plug. If any of you are needing like good marketing and don't know how to do chat GPT, this girl can design like an actual bot for you that like will know you exactly. Oh, I
Yeah.
was using it today for another project and I'm like, it's like me but better. I mean, it's so good. It's
I
so good.
I was saying to somebody yesterday, it was such an accident that I did it. It was it was really a God thing. Like it truly, like I've got to always say, like I'm like it was such a God thing. It was such a divine like download thing where I love that in the before 9 o'clock. It is my therapist. Between 9 and noon, it is like my collab partner. Like we
Yeah.
collaborate. And then after that, it's like my social media marketer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
got
I
a lot
kind
of
of put
tools.
in like I was like, okay, I'm having this podcast interview with my dear friend Chelsea, and she's an 8 and I'm a 4, and here's the things, and I want to put some tips in that I feel like would be in my human design, like aligned with who I am. And
Hmm
the two that it came up with, I was like, these are perfect from like the things I talk about. But I thought these were 2 really great tips to give you a really good, clear indication
Mm.
if someone is into you or not. One of them is if you hate small talk, just skip it and ask better questions. So a few that it came up with, and it's funny
Mm.
because some of them I had written those previously,
Uh-huh.
and I did put them in Chat GPT, but it just knew anyway.
Yeah.
But like, what's been on your mind lately, or what's something you're learning the hard way, or what's lighting
Ooh.
you up lately? Those
Ooh.
are questions that are going to drive right to like the heart of something.
hmm
And if someone's going to be like wicked uncomfortable answering that question,
Yeah.
they're probably not going to be into me,
Yeah.
and that's cool. But then I
Yeah.
know I'm not wasting
Yeah.
time like hemming and hawing around like, do you like me? Do you not? Check yes or
Yeah.
no. I'm just damn it. Hey, what's on your mind lately? And if they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't
I
know,
love the what's lighting you up. Like what's
that's a
lighting
good
you up?
one.
Yeah, what's lighting you
That's
up
the one that
lately?
I have written before in like
Yeah.
in my old podcast way long ago. I wrote an episode about like how to make the hallways of church feel more like home.
Oh,
And that was one of the things I put was like
yeah.
asking him, what's lighting you up lately? What's making you feel joyful lately?
Yeah.
Because it feels lighter and not so heavy. Because
Mm.
sometimes people aren't ready for heavy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
My Relief Society or my women's organization in my group,
hmm
we've been doing lately like a conversational question, like as the group to kind of discuss
Yeah.
together. And the question for quite a while was, what's keeping you up at night? And
Oh, wow. That's
that was
good.
deep. It's like, yeah, I mean, and you got to be ready to go deep, right? But because
Yeah.
that's very vulnerable to say what's keeping you up at night. But
Yeah.
if you are that kind of person, like if you're like me and you're like, I want to like dig in, I want to talk to you about real stuff. Like, yes, I
Yeah.
want to joke around about all the, I mean, I'm the best movie quoter.
You
My
are? I'm the
Yeah,
worst.
my sister-in-law gave me this Christmas ornament that said, "I speak fluent movie quote."
I literally speak. I'm like the worst. My husband, when we were in college in a restaurant, I apparently the cooks always made fun of me because they were like, "You're the worst at movie quotes." I'm like,
Oh my
thanks.
gosh. It's
I
fine. You
know.
got me. You're fine.
I know. I got
Um,
you. There you go.
I'm like, I love joking around. I love being silly, like for sure. But I also like
Yeah.
I want to get deep. I don't know.
I
So I
love that.
think that asking, better
Yeah.
questions, and they don't have to be those ones. Maybe it's something else like
Yeah.
what TV show are you watching lately?
I do actually with my clarity, like I do clarity and alignment coaching, obviously. We know. I will ask people that. Like when people don't know, they don't know even what they want to get clear on.
Yeah.
They're like, "Well, what's keeping you up at night?" Like,
Right.
what are you laying awake at night? Not like your body can't fall
Just spin it
asleep
out about.
because
Yeah,
your brain is losing its mind over. Like, let's
totally.
start there and we'll start untangling the ball of necklaces that you just took out of your suitcase from there, you know?
Totally. And
Mhm.
also plug for Chelsea that she's real
Mhm.
good at that.
Mhm.
So
It's so fun. I love it so much.
she's so good, you
I
guys.
love
I
it.
came like just a friggin' mess and was like, here, Chelsea, help me figure this out. I had spent like months,
Yeah.
like just give myself more gray hairs over it.
Yeah.
And within a couple hours, she's like, boom, 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 here you go.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's so fun.
oh, just like that? Okay.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't have to stress about it for another 6 months.
Yeah. Well,
That's
and
the
I feel
deal.
okay, so that's kind of here's the thing. I think this is where in this era of my life, I think what's being tricky with friends is I know so clearly what God designed me to do. Like that right there. Like I know
Mhm.
for a fact that God designed me to go through all the fun things that I went through and wasn't that fun. My poor parents, right? That's why they have gray hair. I gave them all their gray hair. I went through all the things I went through to have all the compassion that I have, to be able to sit with somebody who's losing their shiz and just go banana pants and hold it with them and then help them identify what they really want. And I always feel like it's like me and God kind of like co-collaborating with them and he's just kind of moving through me. It's super fun. And if I because it feels so um important to me that people like it's very important to me that women feel clear
Mhm.
that if you I don't I always say I don't have time for, I'm not going to deal with people that want to live this mundane, boring life. I'm not
Yeah.
going to do it. Like the green flag, I'm looking for women that are on fire for why they're here.
Yeah.
And even if they don't know it yet, but they're on fire to figure it out.
Sure. You're sure. And if you need to
Yeah.
figure it out, Chelsea
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
It's so
The
fun.
other like
So fun.
fun thing that I think is an easy way to get a connection, and
Mhm.
I don't think anyone's going to like reject you for this, but
Yeah.
their reaction to it, I think, can give you a pretty good indication of like where they're at.
Mm. Mhm.
Is affirming the good about other people. Like, don't make it weird, but like affirm the good. Like, man, I love how easy it
Yes.
is to be around you. But, like, be specific. Man, like I leave this conversation feeling more like myself, or every time I like talk to you, I feel really listened to. Like naming those specific good things about them.
Oh my gosh. In
Boom.
them and in others. You're so okay. Oh. Okay, so when you are with people and they're on that like they're on the autopilot, which is like the negative train where they're just like wah 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 about other people, which is
Mhm.
autopilot. Like I get that. Like we live in America, it's like autopilot with our culture, whatever.
Sure.
And when you shift the ship, right? Like you're on the Titanic going for the iceberg with them and you go and you shift it to affirming them and affirming people in the space and affirming people that you both know they are either going to stay on the ship or they're going to get on the lifeboat because they don't like that. And like that's a thing.
Yeah. That is
Yeah.
really cool actually, because it makes a little bit
Yeah.
nuanced than the different nuance, but it's actually really good too because
Mhm.
just affirming those good things about them is
Yeah.
going to feel very connecting anyway. If you're
Yes.
just like having a conversation, you notice these good things about them.
Yes.
Hang on, I
But
gotta
like
put.
are they going to receive it? Like can they receive it? Can they take it in?
Yeah, can they take it in, and
Yeah.
are they gonna be weird about it?
Yeah. Because I do think it's a thing, y'all. Can they do it? Can they take it in? Can they receive it?
Right. And like you're saying too, that if they're in this like struggle bus, if we gotta be careful though, because affirming the good sometimes can feel like you're dismissing the hard.
The
Like if they're in like
oh.
a rough spot and you're like, oh, but this
Oh,
person
I
has
mean, I
these
wouldn't do it.
qualities and But
I
I
wouldn't
think
do
if
it
you're
in,
doing it the right way of like you're
yeah, not
validating like
neglecting.
where they're at, but I
Yeah.
think it's when they can't get off the ship. Right? You've already validated them a bunch of times. You're like, yeah, that's really hard. I see why you're in pain about that.
Yeah.
That's really, yeah,
Yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah.
Like if you've done that for a while,
Yeah.
and why my camera went crazy, we don't know. We don't
Oh,
know.
it's all normal on this end.
Oh,
It'll
it's
be all
not for
normal.
me. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So,
In the long run, it'll be good.
you've done that several times and they're still
Mhm.
not coming out of
Mhm.
it.
Mhm.
That
Mhm.
might be the time to be like, well, you know what? What I really love about you is that you always figured this out. And I fully trust that you're going
Mhm.
to figure this out.
Yeah. And
You know?
sometimes it's just going, I have a friend right now going through some stuff, and and I'm not meaning this in a bad way at all. She does not want to talk about where it could be good. She does not want to talk about opportunities. Like, she is in the well of suck, and she
Yeah.
does not want to get out right now.
Hmm.
And I am like, okay, like, that's cool
Yeah.
too. Like, we can do
Sure.
that,
We're going to
you
accept that
know?
that's where you're at right now.
Yeah.
Totally.
Like, and all you can say in that moment is like, I am so sorry that this sucks.
Right. Because you have to acknowledge for yourself, am I trying to
Yeah.
pull them out from my comfort or theirs?
Oh, absolutely.
Like
Absolutely.
100. Because if I'm like,
Absolutely.
I don't want you to be in the suck anymore, I'm going to try to pull you out versus like,
Yeah.
I see how long you've
Yeah.
been down there and
Yeah.
God's telling me to like maybe give you a hand up is a different
Yeah.
situation than
Mhm.
I don't want to sit with your uncomfortable because it makes me
It
uncomfortable.
makes me uncomfortable.
That's
Yeah, I
different.
agree. And you also don't have to try and yank them out of the well.
No.
You don't have to yank them out of the well. You can say, "I'm so sorry. I am so sorry." Like, I remember, okay, so the friend that ghosted me,
Hmm.
like, literally ghosted me, probably 6 months later, I'm still sad about it. And even today, I would have the same exact response. But I was sitting at Starbucks with a friend, and she was just "Rah, rah, rah," about this person because she was still entangled with her in a way.
Sure.
And I looked at her and I said, "You know, you obviously need some containment right now about um about Brittany. I don't care. I'll say her name. You obviously need some containment. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You obviously need some containment about Brittany right now. You're obviously very visibly upset with her,
Sure.
and I want you to know that you absolutely deserve that containment. But unfortunately, because of what has happened between her and I cannot be that person for you. Like, it is too much for me. And you deserve someone that can sit here and be annoyed and angry and mad at her
Yeah.
poor life
Hmm.
choices that she continues to make, that maybe I'm not that sad she kicked me out of her life for.
Right.
But,
Right.
like, I cannot be that person for you. Like, I can't handle it.
Right,
But I'm
which
here
is
for
so
anything else.
beautiful because
Anything
you're
else.
not saying, like, that's bad or wrong for them to feel those
No,
things. I love that
no.
you said you deserve to have that, I just can't
Yeah.
give it to you right now.
I can't. I don't have it. It's too much. It's too much for me. Not you're too much, like, but this
This
specific topic, like, I
situation,
just
the
mm-mm, I
stuff
can't
around
do
it.
it. And she's
Yeah,
such a cool lady, such a cool lady, still a friend of mine. She goes, "Okay, girl. Okay. It's cool." And I was like,
right.
"Man, you're awesome." But,
Well,
like,
I
I was
think
so honest with her, and
right,
she
and you
knew my
had a
heart.
clean but you had a clean energy about it, she knew your
Yeah.
heart about it.
Yeah. She
You
knew that I, like, had broken my heart, so she was really cool about it.
right, right, I
Yeah.
love that. And I think
Yeah.
too with all of this stuff too is that if
Mhm.
like we said, if you're an Enneagram 8 and you like knew that
Mhm.
you're God's gift and you just are incredible that way,
Yeah.
congratulations. I'm so happy for you. If you sway to my side of things of like questioning your worth and, am I
Yeah.
doing this right or whatever? And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if she's just not that into you,
Mm.
it is no reflection on you.
It is not. It
Either
is not.
way.
It is
Because
not.
whether it's that's just a moment she's in right now, if it's
Mhm.
a moment of like her personality is not lining up with yours, like whatever
Yep.
it is, there's a
Yeah.
thousand reasons why someone doesn't align.
Yeah.
And instead of getting obsessed with trying to figure out why it didn't, just accepting that it doesn't align,
Yeah.
not out of like, oh, just give up and don't try in relationships, but I don't know. I think there's a better way
Well,
to
and I
say
wanna
that.
give people I guess I wanna give people, I always love closing things up on giving women a permission, like, the permission
Yeah.
to do something, and
Yeah.
I want to give you the permission to release the wrong ones so you can create space for the right ones.
Right. Because
'Cause you
like
deserve it. Like, you
you
deserve
do.
to have really good people who love all of you. And they are out there. Like I believe to my core that God designed and stitched a soulmate for each of us, but we've got to do some surrendering work to find them.
Totally. And like you said, if I'm spending so much time with these people, and my
Yeah.
heart even can't say the wrong ones, like I can't say
Yeah.
wrong. It's like, if I'm spending so much time with these people
With the
that are
good.
not are aligned for me, then I'm not gonna
Yeah.
find the people I am aligned with.
Yeah.
And I mean, also even like releasing the marriage I was in. I
Mhm.
love him, I care about him, he's the father of my children, I will
Yeah.
always love and care about him, but we were not aligned from pretty quickly
Mm-mm.
in because he just shifted into what he wanted. It was
Yeah.
vastly different from what I wanted, and
Yeah.
so we spent a lot of years just, like, hurting each other
Mhm.
because we weren't aligned and didn't wanna let it go,
I
and so
see that in my husband's parents, where I always look at their relationship after I've had really deep conversations with my mother-in-law. And, she like flipped right into that marriage just because she needed help taking care of these kids that
yeah,
she already had from another marriage.
yeah,
And I think, my husband's dad, he wanted a lot of love and a lot of freedom and a lot of flexibility, and he wanted a lot of fun. He, I'm like, he and I aren't that far off. Neither is my husband. Like, we are all part of the same coin.
yeah,
And my mother-in-law wanted somebody who was a hard worker, who made good, decent money,
yeah,
and was gonna like do the grind and check the boxes and take care of the family. And that is not my father-in-law. That's not who he is. But he is fun and he is adventure and he does beat to his own drum.
for sure. So
Yeah.
there's gonna be things that, like, we have to honor and respect and love different things about
Hmm.
different people.
Hmm.
But yeah, at the end of the day, if it's someone you're spending a lot of time with, do they align with what you need in your life
Hmm.
and the season you're in? And there's just a lot of factors. It is a lot like dating. You do have to figure out all these things to know if they're the right
Yeah.
person for you right now. Because even the people that I say I'm so close with right now, that may change in a couple years from now.
Yeah.
And like being open to there's going to
Oh,
be some
yeah.
fluidity, right? Like
Yeah.
that's part of
Yeah.
life, and it does not mean that you're a bad person. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It means that that's just part of life, and it's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I think about it a lot just because we're 40 and we don't have kids yet. That's not been given to us yet. So I think about like, oh geez, and I know we will. I know it. I know we're almost there. When God's just gonna be like, okay, here you go. It's time, right? And I think about like, oh man, I soak up the friendships that we have right now, knowing that when we have kids, those friendships will really change because they either don't have kids or their kids are way older, and so it's just the
Sure.
seasons are going to be so different. And so then but I always say like, oh man, I probably don't even know my like soulmate best friend of life yet that I'm going to raise my kids with, that one that lives a few doors down, not in the neighborhood I live in now, and
Sure.
that we help each other do the things,
Right, and you may
you
not
know
have it may not be the neighbor down the street. I've never had
yeah.
someone nearby from
Yeah.
my that's like I raised my kids with. You know what I mean? It may
I
not be that. We just don't I guess that's the
Yeah.
point is we
No,
don't know
I'm getting
what
that. I've been professing it forever. Sometimes I think
person.
that's the kid's delay. Is God's like,
Oh, you just gotta find the right bestie first, so
he's like orchestrating all the things behind the scenes. I believe that for myself so deeply. I've
right.
talked about her for a long time. I've talked about her
Yeah.
for years.
I love it, I love it. But, yeah, it's just, like, being open to there's a
Yeah.
statement of, like, this or something better, like, asking
Yeah.
God, like, "I want this, but if there's something better you have
Yeah.
designed for me,"
Yeah.
trusting that, and with friendships,
Agree.
that if this person is just not that into me, can I trust that there's something better?
Mm.
And that
Yeah.
even if that means spending some time alone,
Hmm.
that it will be okay because the
Yeah.
clearing of the space and the alone will bring in the right people.
It's
You are
better to be
going to
alone to
find
be with
them.
the wrong person. You would agree with
Yes.
that with marriage, right?
Oh, girl, that's why I'm 6 years in and still not married, so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love
I'd
it.
rather be
I
alone with the
love
wrong
it.
person.
Thank you
So,
for
yes.
thank you for doing this today.
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. Well, do you have any, like, specific offerings right now you wanna talk about before I talk about mine?
Ooh, I'm thinking about, well, I am going to, because of you, because of you. I know, literally
I'm
because of
inspired,
you.
dude. Oh my
When
gosh.
you
You're
said
stroking
this,
my floorness right now.
I know, it's because of you. It's so because of you. When you said this, I went, huh. I am going to start offering some workshops Enneagram and relationship workshops where it's not about like throwing all the mass amounts of information. So you might know a little bit or a lot about the Enneagram, and either way, it's going to work out really great for you. But I want to deep dive into these workshops, limited seats, where we really dive into it's almost like group hot seat coaching where I'm going to help people work
Ooh.
through various relationships in their life, and we're all going to learn from each other through these conversations, diving into different pieces of the Enneagram.
Which is so freaking rad. I mean, I didn't know much about it because you guys, when I
Yeah.
first met Chelsea,
Yeah.
what brought me in was like, I've tried to figure out what my Enneagram is and I can't figure it out. She's like, well,
Yeah.
the tests are kind of garbage.
Yes,
Then
they
just
are.
don't talk to me. And I was
I do
like, okay,
Enneagram
great.
typing.
Right. So that's what like brought me in.
Yeah.
And then I've stuck around because she's amazing. And also because
Mhm.
her ability to help you get clear on like who you are and what you need to do with your
Mhm.
life is so intense. So she doesn't want to be like pigeonholed into this Enneagram coach, but that's just
Mhm.
one of the tools you have
Yeah.
to help you because
I
understanding your
love it.
Enneagram helps you
Yeah.
understand yourself better. And so you can like
Yeah.
be kinder to yourself because of
Yeah.
it.
I have a series on my podcast about like a whole Enneagram series right now where there's a different guest every single week for each Enneagram type, because I believe it just opens up so much communication. And with
Yep.
clarity coaching, I'm like, oh my gosh, we've got to know your Enneagram and look that stuff up so that way
Right. So you can get the clarity you need because you
it's just like a
understand
foundation.
that.
Yeah, it's a foundation to go
Yeah.
like, oh, what are we doing? So,
I love that.
yes.
Okay.
So I've got that. What do you got going on?
Oh, girl, listen. So the tricky part is that this will be the second episode of me rebranding my
Mhm.
podcast to Dear Annie Joy, which is a big step for me.
It's where it belonged all the time.
I know.
Where it
And Chelsea
belonged.
helped me figure this out. In
Yeah.
fact, it was so funny. You're like,
Mhm.
why are you listening to some dude tell you about how to talk to women? And I was like, oh my
For real.
gosh. Anyway, so
Because you
we've
had a
thrown.
podcast coach dude who was telling you how to talk to women. I'm like, fire this bro.
Well, I mean, not even like hired, just listening to his stuff and being like,
Oh,
yeah, this is the formula I should follow.
yeah.
Like, girl, you're not even designed to follow formula. And I'm like, oh, that's
Mm-mm.
true.
Yeah.
Sure. So we threw
Yeah.
out all the formulas and we're just doing what I feel like I want to do.
Yeah.
And it's
That
great.
lights you up.
Yes. The tricky part for me, I should say tricky. I think that I'm so passionate about both of these things I'm doing this summer, but they're a little bit
Mm.
different populations,
Yeah.
right? Because I have my kindness camp, which is for 4th to 6th grade girls.
Yep.
So I'm lit up. I'm lit up about kindness camp because it's been
Mm-hmm.
years in the making, and because I know what it does for these girls. I know what it does
Oh,
for their
yeah.
confidence and their communication, and and also to even know how to handle their emotions and like how to treat other people kindly. Because even though they're mad,
Mhm.
they don't have to take it out on other people, and it's
Yes.
great. So yeah, so those two options in the summertime. If you come to my Instagram, there's all the things there. But then also this year, I'm branching out and doing a women's retreat, which is
I
like
know.
where my soul has been all along. Like I love working with kids and I love this
Mhm.
prevention model of
Yeah.
like, let's teach you all the things now.
Mhm.
Because like I have a 10-year-old girl and watching her go through my camp and learn the things and be
Mhm.
such a freaking rock star as a 10-year-old, I mean, it lights me up. But at the end of the day, I'm like, but I know that the mama's heart is where like real change happens in a home,
Absolutely. Confident
right?
moms create confident kids. Secure moms create secure kids. They're like
100.
100%. Absolutely.
So that has been like my call for so long, but it just wasn't right yet. It wasn't right. And I did things pre-COVID. I did some women's like events, not full
Mhm.
retreats, but just like one-off night events, whatever.
Yeah.
And was like, okay, I'm done with this, whatever. Fast forward to like this year, my friend proposed this idea, and I just felt that like gut yes that
Yeah.
my generator
So
knows. It's
good.
like, yep, this is it.
Yep.
And okay, let's go. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited because I've never done an overnight retreat before, but I know in my bones like this is what women need. They need that
Yeah.
play, that connection, that relaxing. Oh my gosh, you guys, June 9th through 11th. Anyway, come hit me up on Instagram. You'll have all the details, but I'm so excited. So
Yeah.
come party with me. Go get clarity coaching from Chelsea. And listen, you're
We're
going to
the
be
full
just
package. We're the
a
full
full
package,
freaking
guys.
package. And it's good.
Check the show notes for all of our websites. Find
All
us on
the
the
things.
Instagram, all the places.
All the things.
All the things. All the things. So thanks again. Thanks for
Thank you,
joining
girls.
us on All Things Excellence.
And on Dear Annie Joy.
Yes. All right. Until next time, everybody.
Bye,
Bye. Thanks for listening to All Things Excellence. If something landed with you today, I'd love for you to follow the show, share it with a friend, or leave a quick review. It helps more women find these transformational conversations. And if you're ready for support with your next step, or needing someone to stand in the gap with you to figure out what that even is, I'd love to create that space for you, and my intro clarity call is a great place to start because life is too quick and too full to have to figure it out alone. Until next time, All Things Excellence fam, thank you for listening.